listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
It is Friday. It also happens to be Reformation Day.
Hey, yeah.
And Friday means set apart to serve conversations. We get to go to Concordia University Irvine today. Well, we don't get to go there in person, which would have been lovely today.
Oh, we should have taken it on the road today.
That would have been a lot of fun. Today's episode of The Coffee Hour is underwritten in part by Concordia University Irvine. You can learn more about Concordia University Irvine by visiting CU. Joining us today, Reverend Dr. Jonathan Ruehs. He's Assistant Dean of Christ College at Concordia University Irvine. Dr. Ruehs, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here. Should I be humming a little Mighty Fortress as our God in the background?
Yes.
All right.
You are in the studio. What studio are you located in at Concordia University Irvine?
We are in the Center for Worship Leadership studio at Concordia Irvine.
So you could hum a tune if you wanted to.
It's
It's a lovely studio. It's beautiful. Also joining us today, Carrie Donohoe. She's the Director of LCMS Recruitment at Christ College and Christ College Program Coordinator and Assistant Director of LCMS Placement at Concordia University Irvine. Carrie, welcome back to the Coffee Hour.
Thank you, and hello from Irvine.
It was nice to get to see you in person this summer at the LCMS Youth Gathering. Thanks for coming over to our booth and saying hi. It was nice to get to meet face-to-face. Now we get to talk online face-to-face, but it's not quite the same.
Not quite the same.
Also, I'm a little envious. Your studio is beautiful, so
and they're like
kind of wish we
10
were
minutes
there.
from the beach.
So what I'm thinking is that sometime you guys need to come out here and then do some recording from our studio and then be able to enjoy Southern California.
That sounds like a good plan.
I'm up for that.
All right.
Well, I'd love to hear your stories. Carrie, how long have you been at Concordia University Irvine?
A really long time. Over 30 years. This is my 33rd academic year at Concordia.
Wow.
What do you love about what you get to do at Concordia University Irvine?
I love the students, and I especially love that I get to help them reach their goals of being church workers in the LCMS. And I just like to always be able to be there for them if they're in need, or directing them where they need to go, what they need to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a very important role for students at a university to have someone to help guide them, for sure. Dr. Ruehs, how long have you been at Concordia Irvine?
That's a bit of a tricky question. And the reason being is I'm actually an alum. So fun story is when I was an undergrad, I was a DC program, and Carrie was working with the DC director as part of her job at that time. So I've known Carrie for a very long time.
Yes.
And so I was actually her work study student back then.
That's amazing.
And now he's my boss.
Yeah. So I've Irvine, I'm an alum twice over, DC background. Then I did the Center, the Cross-Cultural Ministry Center, which is our seminary program in conjunction with Concordia St. Louis. So that's where my seminary degree is from. But I've also worked back in 2007-08 with Irvine doing church worker recruitment. And then I transitioned from Irvine to Concordia Austin, where I was a associate DC director for a while. And then I came back to Irvine and I was in campus ministry. And so my second go around in Irvine, I was back in 2011. So I've been back here since 2011. Yeah. I've done a wide variety of roles with higher education and with Irvine itself. So yeah.
All right, and we'll get to a little bit more of your journey in just a second. What do you love about what you get to do at Concordia Irvine now?
I would have to echo what Carrie said. It's the students. That's what I love about doing what I'm doing, is working with the students. I love church work. I love being a part of just helping to shape and form them and teach them and have just one-on-one conversations with them and to celebrate with them. All of that is very exciting for me. Just being a part of just helping to shape and form this next generation of church workers going out. So that's why I get up every day and do what I do in that regard.
Why is it important to you to get to be a part of church worker formation at Concordia University Irvine?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Why it's important to me is, I've done a lot in my journey with church work, and I've seen the goods and the bads and the uglies. And part of that is I see my role in being able to help to bring that wisdom of what I've done, and probably more importantly, the mistakes I've made. So learn from my mistakes. Don't do these dumb things, kind of thing going out in ministry to help form and shape the next generations. That's where I see the importance of my role, is to being able to help be a part of that, is to just kind of be that kind of elder voice, I guess you could say, to help to speak into that younger generation and to help them as they seek to eventually graduate and transition and do parish ministry or the wide variety of opportunities of ministry that are available to them.
Carrie, you've been there for over 30 years supporting church worker formation. Why is it important to you to be a part of church worker formation at Concordia University Irvine?
Well, as a lay person in the church, I like to show our students that there's lay people who can help them, and that, being a church worker is, I don't know, I started in the DCE program loving those DCE students, and then it just evolved that I'm now with all of the students, and I just see such a need in our churches. And in my position, I get with placement, I see all the requests that come in, and it's just exciting to see where students can go, but also sad that there's so many openings at this time in our church and the great need that we need.
Dr. Ruehs, I know you have a extensive background in the different kinds of church work programs. Tell us about the church work programs that are available at Concordia Irvine.
Yeah, so we have 5 programs: pre-sem, pre-deaconess, we have DCE, we have Lutheran teaching, and we have director of parish music is our 5 programs that we have up and going. So we have directors of all those programs too as well. Our campus pastor, Quentin Anderson, directs our pre-sem and pre-deaconess programs. Rebecca Duport is our director for our DC program. Dr. Carrie Chittick is the director of our Lutheran teaching program. And then Steve Zank, who is the director of our Center for Worship Leadership, studio brought to you by, is also our DPM director. So yeah, those are our programs.
What do you want us to know about those programs? Maybe what's unique about them at Concordia University Irvine, about all the 5 programs that you just mentioned, and what makes it an ideal place for church worker formation?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the things that let me just talk about each one of those briefly. This is actually a great question because I just presented last week at the pastors conference in the Pacific Southwest District, and I presented on church worker programs. And so who knew that this would be my prep for your question? So because I brought all this kind of stuff up. So this is great. Thank you for asking this. What I find unique about our pre-sem, pre-deaconess programs is our pre-sem, pre-deaconess students actually can choose any major they want. We don't have a specific, pre-sem, pre-deaconess major. They can be a psych major. They can be English major. We've got a student who's finishing this semester who is actually graphic arts and art major kind of thing, but did the minor. So every one of our programs are a minor. So for those 2 programs, they can choose whatever major they want to be a part of. Many of them do choose, especially our pre-sem guys do choose theology, but they can be anything. And then they've got their pre-sem minor, and the deaconesses has the pre-deaconess minor. Our deaconess students, by the way, do take biblical languages. They choose whether it's going to be Hebrew or Greek they're going to take, whereas our pre-sem students, and I don't think this is unique to us, this is probably a case across the CUS, is that they do take all the languages to get them ready for seminary. Let me talk about DC. DC is unique for us too in regards to the fact that our DC program is actually out of our theology department, and that's something unique in the CUS. And that creates really tight bonds with our theology department and with the theologians, which has produced some pretty cool things. So our DC program years ago actually started a theological interview for all the seniors going out. We want to make sure that they're prepared. And that has grown, and Christ College and my colleagues in Christ College have really embraced that and are part of that. So they have an interview during the spring semester of their senior year, and we have a list of theology questions that we ask them to see how well they're prepped and ready to go. That's actually expanded out to our Lutheran teachers. We started doing that a couple years ago. And then Christ College has said as a whole, hey, we should do this for all of our programs. Now, I make the joke because we made the vote back in spring to spread this to all 5 of our programs. And then Dr. Loy, is the dean of Christ College, asked me to be the assistant dean and gave me the task of making sure it's being carried out amongst all 5 of our programs. So I knew what I was getting into, but there's some nefariousness going on there. So no, so that's exciting as a part of what we're doing too. And again, with that close tie with our DCs and the theology. DPM, they do a church music major. And what I find is great about that too is that there's a lot of fieldwork components to that. I think that's really important as they're prepared to go out. And a lot of our DPM students actually will do even summer internships. So there's churches across the synod that will say, hey, can you come and do like maybe a 6-week or maybe even a 3-month kind of like a little mini internship, usually paid with them. And then our Lutheran teaching, one of the things that I find that's unique with us is we actually have specific class that we established a couple of years ago that our Lutheran teachers actually do it's kind of like a student teaching class in that it's a field work specific to Lutheran, being in Lutheran education settings. So they spend some time going to and being assigned to a Lutheran school and seeing all the ins and outs of it in chapel and all that's going on kind of thing too. So those are some of the kind of our uniquenesses with our program. So you had another question. I forgot what the other question is. So.
Did I have another question?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well,
That's all right.
Let's just say I answered it. Yeah.
I think you did.
Sounds great. Carrie, do you have anything from your perspective to add about the uniqueness of the Concordia Irvine programs? Because you get to deal with, I shouldn't say that way. You get to help students through these church work programs.
Well, there isn't another Concordia that has somebody like me that helps them when they start applying to the university all the way until they're completed and ready for either going to seminary, coordinate with the seminaries to come and recruit our students and share that information with the students. I also help with the teachers and DCEs and the DPMs, finding them positions in the church throughout the United States and abroad if that's what they desire. So that's a little different, and that's a unique thing that is definitely here. They know that all the students know they can stop in anytime and see me. I'm willing to, help them. And it's not just related to church work. If they're not finding answers to some other questions, I'm happy to point them in the right direction and help them get there. Yeah, it's kind of expanding to all the LCMS students now in my new role with the LCMS Recruitment. So anybody who's an LCMS student now can stop in and help me. I can give them help. So
Carrie it's a great role to have because she helps with the beginning of the process, right? Even as students are like considering church work, and she's there walking them through all the way to now when it's placement. So it's fun that she's able to do that entire journey with them. And that's a wonderful part of having her in that position.
Well, we're going to have more questions in just a moment about what it's like to become a student at Concordia University Irvine, what we need to know to become a church work student at Concordia University Irvine. We'll continue the conversation for Set Apart to Serve on the Coffee Hour in just a moment. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
At Concordia University Irvine, you have the freedom to explore your future and your faith. Across over 60 on-campus and online programs, you'll experience Christian education that's uniquely designed to develop the whole person, to prepare you not just for your career, but for all of your callings in life. Here you'll explore life's toughest questions, gain lifelong skills, and make relationships that last a lifetime. Concordia University Irvine. Learn more at cui.edu.
Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
We're talking with friends from Concordia University Irvine today, the Reverend Dr. Jonathan Ruehs, Assistant Dean of Christ College at Concordia University Irvine, and Carrie Donohoe. She's Director of LCMS Recruitment, Christ College Program Coordinator, and Assistant Director of LCMS Placement at Concordia University Irvine. It's a lot of titles.
yeah.
Which means you do a lot of things to help students, as you pointed out, from the very beginning to help them getting enrolled in a program at Christ College to helping them move on to the next step after graduation as well. What do you want us to know about church work programs and applying, getting into the church work programs and things we need to know in advance like tuition and stuff like that? Carrie, what do you want us to know about that?
Well, I work with a student. We do offer a scholarship called the LCMS Church Vocation Scholarship. That's open to anyone who wants to be a church worker who has at least a 3.0 coming in. That's transfer or from their high school GPA. And I work with them as soon as they've been accepted to the university. I work with them to apply for that scholarship. What else, Jonathan?
She does a lot in regards to when they want to come to visit. So making sure that there's connections, personal connections too, as well. So she works really tightly with our admissions department. And so when they come, we want to make sure that those students are connected to their specific directors. So they get some airtime with their directors, sitting in on classes too, as well, to be able to see that. There's some kind of special, I would say, concierge service that Carrie provides for our church work students in particular.
Well, and lunch, we try to get them to have lunch with our current students so they can really get a feel for what the university is like and what the church work programs are like.
Carrie, why is it important to plug students in that way, to give them that personal touch when they come to visit?
Because we get students from all over the United States. We don't just get them from California. It's good for me to connect a student maybe with somebody who's from their area so they know that it's not daunting to come to California. And they already have connections then. Our students, they're my best recruiters. They just love to meet prospective students and tell them about Concordia and help those students determine if we're the best fit for them.
Absolutely. Dr. Ruehs, why are these church work programs so important for Concordia Irvine?
You know, it really goes back to our history as a university. Our university really began as a place of wanting to be engaged with mission and in ministry work to the world. And so we've always had that kind of missionary, I guess you could say, mindset. And when I say missionary, I'm not just saying like international, but I believe, right, we can be doing missions right here. In fact, right, the LCMS has a Office of National Missions as well as an Office of International Missions. So that's really part of our DNA. And I think that's really been an important part of our DNA as we prepare students to go out and serve in a wide variety of contexts. California in of itself is a unique place. And so I think, if you come here and you get an experience of what California is like, obviously, I think you're pretty much going to be able to serve pretty much anywhere with such the diversity that you see here and all that's going on. And so I think that's really an important part of our students' experience too, and being prepared to go out. And the proximity of churches and everything too as well in the area that they can all experience of different types and kinds and stuff like that too. And especially too, I think that's what's also really important, and it's been near and dear to my heart, is really preparing people for cross-cultural ministry. And that's something that we could always be doing a better job on. And they see it in spades here in Cali, especially in Irvine in particular. You come here, and depending upon what part of the country you come here, you're gonna walk in to a local store and you realize, oh, I'm not in Kansas anymore. Whether you're from Kansas or somewhere else, kind of a thing, just because of the diversity of what you're seeing and even just what you're hearing language-wise too as well.
How are you getting connected with potential students? And helping them learn about Concordia University Irvine? What are you doing to help students across the country learn about the church work programs at Concordia University Irvine?
That's probably a good Carrie question.
All right, Carrie.
Well, Carrie attended the youth gathering, and I was there, and I was in the booth the whole time. And then I also go to different districts. I have great people on this campus that go and present or visit different districts all over the United States for me. I don't necessarily have to go to all of them. I will be going to the Missouri District College Fair in November as the recruiter for that. But with my admissions team, they're great about that. We also do a huge mailing to every church in the LCMS that I work on with whatever our new brochure about church work and talking about that we have that 80% scholarship. I have the CMO does a lot of visits to district conventions and pastor conferences for me and directs people to me.
That's our chief mission officer, Steve Mueller.
And then, and my students and my alumni, those are primarily where I get. And Set Apart to Serve has really helped also to get the information out to students that maybe would never have looked at Concordia Irvine because they didn't know where we were. or that we existed, and having our information on the website. And that, I think, has really helped us to get out to different churches. I've got students applying now from Maryland and Florida and Pennsylvania, and places that we haven't had students in a while from. So that's great.
Yeah, as an Irvine alum, there's something really special about Irvine, and I'm excited whenever I get to talk up the school to anybody who will listen to me about the experience that I've had. And it really is a wonderful place for the formation that both of you have been talking about. So let's talk a little bit more about SAS. You brought up Set Apart to Serve. How is this cultural movement in the LCMS? How has it become really a part of Christ College and Concordia Irvine?
That's a great question. I mentioned beforehand that I did church worker recruitment back in 07, 08. And I remember when I started that job here at Irvine, I realized that we really needed to have a grassroots movement in our churches. Me going out as a representative of the university to connect with churches, and I was making all kinds of connections with various church workers. I was in a lot of local DC gathering groups and pastors groups and those kinds of things. And that's great on a one level, right? But I realized back then we need to have, church workers themselves encouraging their young people to be doing this. And I mentioned this last week when I was at the pastors conference, and just sharing with them that their role is so important. And I think SAS is highlighting that. And I was excited to see that SAS was saying this needs to start in our churches, and this needs to start with our church workers, identifying young people in their congregation. And then also, too, on top of that, SAS having us, as Carrie mentioned, being on their website, that gives us an opportunity to connect with a wider variety of students because of that coverage than maybe would have had beforehand. I recall, and this has changed quite a bit, which I'm happy about it. When I was doing church worker stuff back in 07, 08, I remember going out to like NYG and those kinds of things, and people are all like, "There's a Concordia in California?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's a Concordia in California." Yeah. So, and that's for many years that was, we were kind of the best kept secret. Part of that too, I think, was because, we have the best weather in the world. But at the same time, though, too, there was always a hesitation because of the political climate in California. And so some people were wanting to be a little bit too quick to say, "Oh, you're in a liberal state, so therefore you must be a theologically liberal institution." I'm like, no, we are Orthodox Lutheran, and we hold strong to that and our mission, everything too, as well. I'm happy to hear that's changed quite a bit. I know the synodical president has really spoken very positively about us and everything too, which has been really helpful. And all the people across the United States and our alum who were able to speak very positively about that too as well. But SAS has also been helpful, and again, bringing attention to that and helping people to see that you've got choices. And I liked what Carrie said earlier. We may not be the right fit for everybody. And I love the fact that we have our brothers and sisters, or maybe I should say our fellow sister institutions in the CUS, that they might be a better fit for somebody else. But, if we aren't the right fit, we hope to maybe help you to find that right fit where you're at too as well to go. And as our chief mission officer, the Reverend Dr. Steve Mueller always says, you know what, it's always a win for the church, no matter where they wind up going to receive that education. So, yeah.
Now, I know we've mentioned Christ College at Concordia University Irvine a few times. Maybe you could help us understand, what is Christ College?
Yeah, Christ College actually was the original name of Concordia University Irvine. And then it changed back in the mid-90s. In fact, I was a transfer student, and I remember when I visited one spring, I was here when they made the announcement that they were becoming Concordia University Irvine. And so when I came that fall, I came to Concordia University Irvine. So we originally were Christ College, and that switch was to become part of that cohesiveness of the CUS. But we've retained that name Christ College because it's part of our history. And so Christ College is the name of our school for theology, church work, philosophy, and biblical languages. So all of that's housed underneath Christ College, but that gives you a little bit of that history of where that came from.
And for the folks wondering where Irvine is, who might not know where Irvine, California is, where would we find Irvine?
Carrie, you want to take that question?
We're in Orange County, which is south of Los Angeles and north of San Diego. We're right in the middle.
In beautiful Orange County.
It is 15 minutes from Disneyland
15 minutes from the ocean.
Yes.
Yep.
I tell people there are very few places in winter where you can go surf and snowboard in the same day. And you can do that in Concordia, or in California, I should say, not actually at Concordia. But, and we are also, I think this is important to mention, Irvine is considered to be one of the top safest cities in the United States, and one of the top 10 safest cities in the United States. And it continues to kind of hold strong on that if you look at those kind of national statistics and stuff too. So parents who might feel a little hesitant sending their kid across country, this is a very safe place to be in that regard.
Carrie, what do we need to know for next steps to find out about church work programs at Concordia University Irvine? What's the next place to look and who to reach out to?
If the student wants to come visit, I would say the cui.edu/visit would be the best, because once you get on our campus, you'll really get to get the service and see what we're all about. If not, you can just go on our website and click on, if for undergrads or grads, we do have a graduate school in theology and the pastoral certification program. I do admissions for both of those. So if a student's interested in graduate work, I can help them. But for the undergrads, undergrad admissions is the great place. We have 5 wonderful admissions counselors that can help each. It depends on what area you're in or what you're studying, and then you'll eventually get to me.
Very good. Carrie Donohoe, Director of LCMS Recruitment, Christ College Program Coordinator, and Assistant Director of LCMS Placement at Concordia University Irvine. Carrie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And the Reverend Dr. Jonathan Ruehs, Assistant Dean of Christ College at Concordia University Irvine. Thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you for having me.
You can learn more about Set Apart to Serve by visiting lcms.org/SAS. You've been listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit kfuo.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@kfuo.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.